What's up, everyone? This is Logan with CigarFederation.com. Broadcast, actually right here. I don't know if we're actually going to be on AFRN, so I don't really know what to say. So we're here. We're live. Got two of my favorite people, and the third person hasn't joined yet because he's just a big bowl of dummy, and he'll come later. But we've got tonight something a little bit different. We don't have Cigar Chat. We have a very special recap show because recently there was a media trip out to, of all places, Belgium and the Netherlands to visit Royal Agio cigars. And then a follow-on was going to Intertabac, which is more or less the world's IPCPR. So we've got a couple people we're going to just kind of talk about what happened at the show, kind of give our experiences, etc., etc., probably talk a lot of nonsense. And with me tonight, I've got two codenamed people. Big Tuna, what's happening?
What's going on there, brother?
Nothing, Tuna. How are things? How was Ella's birthday party?
Oh, it was a blast. Really good time. Very good time.
Did she do the whole smash cake thing? Or is that just one when they're 1 year old?
I just kind of did when she was one. She did like her own private birthday party, but no, I just kind of got drunk on beer.
I mean, that makes sense. I mean, that's what tunas do.
Yep.
And we've got a brand new face, and soon to be on Cigar Federation a lot more, due to him going to be co-hosting Pipe Dummies with me. I want to introduce everyone to Ben Bull Shark Lee. How's everybody doing from Stogie Review? What's happening?
Doing awesome. Glad to be on here.
I know, it's about time, man. It's about time to have you on here. But, dude, the pipe stuff is going to be next level-ish. It's going to be awesome.
Next level-ish.
Dude, it's going to real for real. Dude, Ben, we haven't had but like one or two guests, and that's because Rob was too lazy to do anything. So I got a few guests, like Loudesy, I got Savinelli, and then Grattan Babson, and then we had DE. Ben, in his first show ever, might have just locked down Dunhill.
Yeah,
I mean, that's what the we're hoping. Well, that's true. Yeah. That's what the Bull Shark does.
90% confirmed right now.
90%, okay. I'll take it. 90%, I will take it. So and we have another guy joining us, Brian Hugh from Stogie Review, but he's taking forever. He's late, so we're just going to kind of march on without him. So, kind of talk about our trip. So we had the opportunity a couple of weeks ago to, spend time with Royal Agio, and it was very kind of interesting because we've been, Seth and I have been on, a lot of different trips. Different cigar manufacturers, with all of them being in kind of North, in Central America, right? Whether it be Nicaragua or Honduras or the Dominican, but never anything in Europe. So it was kind of an interesting trip. And kind of the reason for the invite was Royal Agio, as you guys probably don't know, I think it was not this year, but last year, entered into a distribution agreement with Drew Estate. So Drew Estate is their kind of U.S. distributor. So it was kind of to go over there and see their operation. So before I kind of blow the whole trip, Seth, what did you think going into the trip?
You're talking about a completely different experience. It's funny because when you go down, you go to a factory in Nicaragua or anything, Honduras, you're greeted by people either wearing like Guiberas or T-shirts, the company T-shirts. Going to Belgium, dude, it's suits and men in Windsor knots.
This is true.
That's what
everyone's like Euro trendy too.
Oh, it was like they had the pointy shoes, the Windsor knots, the suits. I was like totally different ball game. But it was. Wow. I was impressed in awe by the factory.
Show's over. Tuna spoke his mind. Show's over. So, when I was kind of going into it, I wouldn't say apprehensive is not the right word, but, just to set the context, I mean, Royal Agio, and we'll get into more kind of the history and stuff, but, Royal Agio has been around for a long time. And
1904.
Thank you, fact-finding Seth. But it's been around for quite a while, and, most of you probably haven't heard of them except for potentially the Balmoral, the long throw. They actually do have a factory in the Dominican. But a majority of what they produce are the Panther. I don't even say I'm saying this right, but Panthers, yeah, Maharis, and other kind of flavored slash, short filler kind of cigars, cigarillo kind of things. So going over there, I was a little kind of apprehensive. I'm like, well, I love traveling. I love going to Europe, but I'm like, what are we doing? Why are we? What's the point? Like, I don't necessarily smoke these cigars. Like, I don't really understand it. So going into it, I was a little bit kind of like, okay, so what are we doing? So, and kind of when we landed Bull Shark, tell us about the flight. It was horrible.
Yeah, it was pretty bad. Well, it's the longest flight I'd ever been on because that.
Seriously?
Yeah, because the longest I'd ever been on would be when we go down to Nicaragua, which is about 3.5 hours. That's probably the longest I've ever been on. So going over there, it was 8-hour flight. That was excruciating because I'm not the smallest cat in the room for sure, and the seats are little bitty narrow seats for little European people. And
European people.
It was something else for 8 hours. I tried to sleep the whole way. Everybody said, "Oh, just sleep, whatever." I could not get comfortable enough to sleep on that airplane.
This is true.
The flight back was a lot better for me, though.
Oh, really?
Well, yeah, because I got to catch up on my Downton Abbey all the way back.
Dude, have you ever actually watched that show? Do you actually watch that show?
Downton Abbey? Oh, yeah, dude. I'm so addicted to Downton Abbey. It's unbelievable.
Are you also addicted to watching, like, gay porn?
Not that I'm
Dude,
aware
what's wrong
of.
with that? What's wrong with that, man?
Dude, I tried to watch it. I literally
so
fell
classic.
asleep watching it.
Well, that's you, Logan. I mean, you.
It's like, hello, sir. Hello, governor. It's like,
Well, it's not Rambo. Jesus.
hey, well, I know that, but, dude, there's
The
also
movie,
good...
the movie selection by Delta was really good. I thought
Oh, they had the new Mad Max Fury Road. I thought, which was an awesome movie.
it's an incredible movie. It was an incredibly well done movie. They had the new. I wanted to see the Beach Boys' Love and Mercy. They had that movie. They had a bunch of good stuff.
They had HBO on there too. So I just saw the first episode of the new True Detectives.
I did too, and I watched half of season 3 of House of Cards, which was nice.
Oh
which
yeah,
is very nice.
I mean, it's an 8-hour flight, so it sucks. But
It wasn't that
one
bad.
of those. No, I mean it's not. It's uncomfortable.
But I fly
flight
all
itself,
the time.
Yeah, I mean I upgraded to the Delta Comfort on the way back.
Both ways. I knew what we were getting ourselves into.
And it was a hell of a lot more comfortable.
So basically, moral of the story is the flight sucked. We landed, and we're all tired as shit. So
you're dead, man. You're dead.
We were dead. But we pretty much hit the ground running. So, we hit the ground running. We got the bus. Kind of took a leisurely drive through the Belgium countryside to get to, where did we stay? It was Antwerp, correct?
Well, we first went to, the first thing you remember is we went to Koningshaven in the Netherlands.
Oh, that's right. No crap. I totally forgot about that.
How the hell you remember the name of that place is amazing.
What was the name of it?
Koningshaven.
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 All right, whatever.
Abbey. Koningshaven Abbey.
Downton Abbey. Okay, we went to the Downton Abbey.
The Downton Abbey. So we basically went to La Trappe. To the Trappist Abbey, which now they call La Trappe, but which was pretty cool. We saw that. Remember we saw the barrel of the what was it? Some bourbon.
It was like yellow.
Oh yeah.
Gosh, what was it? Makers? No, not Makers.
Yeah, it wasn't Maker's Mark. It wasn't
Woodford Reserve.
Woodford. That's what it was.
Yeah.
Woodford Reserve. Yeah.
Official bourbon of Kentucky. They're aging their but that was a good time.
So I mean, I'm not a big beer drinker. What was the coolest thing about the beer factory tour for you guys?
Brian's here. Introduce Brian.
Hey,
I'm here.
This is the guy who's always late, Brian Hewitt from Stogie Review.
I should have put this in a calendar. I completely forgot about it, and I was thinking for some reason it was tomorrow. And I saw your email, and I'm like, oh shit, that already happened.
You know what the effective range of an excuse is, Hewitt?
What's that?
0 meters. So shut up and let's go.
Yeah, all right.
You don't mess with the bull shark. But perfect timing, Hewitt. So tell us, what was the coolest thing you saw about La Trappe?
I think it was cool to see their all their old equipment. They kind of glossed over the new stuff, but the old copper kettles that they were using were pretty neat. I mean the barrels. I mean, honestly, the barrels was the most exciting thing for me. And after trying their barrel-aged quad, I'm excited. I hope it makes it over here. So those were the most exciting things.
Oh, that was that
I
oak
saw.
age one we tried last.
You can get
Wasn't
them.
it?
You can get them.
You can get them over here. I've not seen them.
Yeah, I've got them before. You know, the thing is, they're not like a 750, but they're bigger than the regular ones. But it's like they're like $20. They're like $20 a bottle. And I've picked them up.
Wow.
I probably picked it up like 3 times, but I didn't notice until we were there that the last one I picked up, it was batch 14.
Yeah.
So now I'm going to start trying to collect all the batches, which that's never going to happen.
I just want to drink all the batches. We had batch 20 there, and that was fantastic. It was wonderful.
Yeah, I think that was the best beer from La Trappe that I had was that oak age one. It was extremely just a really good beer. And I'm not a beer guy either. Brian is definitely the beer guy in this crew for sure, and Seth is too. But where I live at Mississippi, our laws have made it to where I can't get a lot of these beers. So when I rode there, I kind of relied on Hewitt. Yeah, I relied on Brian to tell me, "Oh, this is a good one. You know, try this one, and this is what you should get out of it." It was a really cool learning experience because, like a lot of those beers that we tried there, you know, I'm not a real big beer drinker, but I wanted to, like I told my wife, I said, I wanted to drink them just to say, hey, yeah, I've had that beer in Belgium. You know?
Yeah.
But it kind of expanded my knowledge, too, of a lot of that stuff, too. So that was really cool. But touring the brewery right off the plane was pretty cool, but it was hard because I was so tired.
Oh, yeah. No sleep, going directly from the plane, basically up all night and touring a brewery. The thing that they should have done is gotten us beer immediately.
Yeah,
we needed that
should,
liquid energy.
Yeah, they probably should have given us some beer and tobacco immediately. That's probably the first thing.
It was kind of weird not smoking on the bus, man.
Yes.
It was fun how we all expected that, too. As soon as we got on the bus, we're like, okay, where's the beer in the humidors with the cigar in it? It
was kind of strange.
Yeah,
Stefan was no Henry.
Well, because of all the smoking laws, we can't.
Yeah.
In most places we went, we couldn't smoke at all.
Yeah.
Well, I know in the various Latin American countries we've been to, you can smoke anywhere if you have enough the local currency in your pocket, you know, to hand them. We've seen that happen where non-smoking vans suddenly become smoking vans. So it's a shame that they didn't do that. But you know what, Agio is kind of, you know,
they're classy people.
They're classy. They're not the kind of throw a few bucks at somebody and try to break the rules. They're going to follow the rules, so you can just tell they're proper.
They're good people. So for the guy that doesn't drink beer, our tour guide was, needless to say, quite eccentric, and was too much. And all I remember from that whole tour was double fermentation.
Yeah, you remember that, right?
I do remember it. That's
Second
all I remember.
fermentation in the bottle. Yeah.
Yeah.
Tony was insane.
Yes, and you know, I find it interesting that. Can you guys still see me? I just see a Cigar Federation logo. Okay, so the interesting thing about that is, as a home brewer, the second fermentation usually isn't so much about gaining additional alcohol; it's just about the carbonation. So, they're very excited about the carbonation, which, you know, bottle conditioning, which is what that's called, or second fermentation, is great in that the carbonation in the beer, it produces smaller CO2 bubbles, so they seem smoother and creamier, so you get a better mouthfeel, and it can result in a better flavor in a beer. I prefer it, but that's just uber beer nerd type of stuff there, because most people wouldn't be able to tell the difference, honestly. So, but I guess we're all kind of beer hipsters now, even if we don't want to be. So
yeah, a little bit. Which, like, those Trappist beer, which is pretty much all that we drank while we were there. Now, Brian, those are all kind of a sweet beer, like they are.
Yes.
They kind of the same style, kind of banana, clove, sweet kind of thing.
Yeah,
Because
yeah, they vary a lot. Yeah, the bananas are usually more prevalent in the triple, but we drank a ton of quads, which usually are more kind of plummy or pruny or something like.
yeah,
You know, they'll
Yes.
have the banana, but they'll have a lot of the sweet estery flavors to it with the clove spiciness and whatnot in the background.
It's great with a
It's
cigar.
Yes, yes, I like it, and it's not what a lot of people think about in terms of beer. They're used to thinking of something that's light and or hoppy and a little bitter, but this is just like a giant fruit bomb with spices. It's kind of like drinking a Thanksgiving dessert a little bit. These beers, so.
A
So going off
Thanksgiving
that,
dessert.
what is everybody smoking tonight while we're talking? Just curious.
It is not an Agio product.
Well, I mean, mine isn't either. I don't have any either.
Yeah.
I smoked them all.
Yeah.
I got a UF13 from Drew Estate. Probably
Oh,
my
nice.
favorite Drew Estate cigar ever.
I was gonna cut out and light something up. I'm
All
late,
right,
so I didn't even take the time to light anything up yet. I don't even know what I'm gonna burn.
I got a Davidoff Nicaragua Bellicoso.
Oh, that's a
Fancy.
good idea.
Yeah.
Fancy.
Fancy.
So we got off the bus, we went, drank some beer, and then we drove back into Antwerp. And we stayed at a very Euro-friendly hotel. And what I mean by this is that the stairwell was not made for American men. Like, I almost got stuck in the stairwell trying to walk up because it was so narrow. And then on the bathroom, like, there was so little space. But anyways, take out the hotel. We got to go out. It was really cool. Kind of the first night, we got to go back. And did we have dinner the first night there? Is that the night we had the really long dinner?
No,
Yeah,
that's
it's
the night
really
we went
long.
to that other hotel and ate.
That was,
No, we went to the hotel called Banks in
Right.
Antwerp,
yeah,
and then we went,
oh, that says here.
We
And
rode the
then-
bus.
and then we did the tram, the
Right.
little tour, which at first you're like, oh my god, because there was like that.
Oh, dude, we had a
from
marching
people-
band.
we-
It was awesome, though.
hobby. And at first I was like, oh gosh, like please tell me these guys are not for us. And then I see them put on these like Agio sports jackets, and I was like, oh man, that's our band.
And the ironic thing was, it was a
And
New
then
Orleans jazz band.
Did you say ironic or
Yeah.
erotic?
Ironic.
Oh, okay. I mean,
Ironic.
whatever
Yeah,
your
sing-
proclivities are.
sing-
I'm fine with anything.
Singing in Dutch, nonetheless.
Yeah.
The entire way. But yeah, then we went
That
to
was pretty
the 5-course meal restaurant.
Yeah,
We
that
did.
place was that place was fantastic, and I do enjoy their use of a smoke in between meals, or in between courses. But I think if you're doing that, there should only be 2 courses, 3
This is
tops.
true. This is true.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we were there. We were there till like 12.
Yeah,
I smoked more cigars during dinner than I did all day. And that normally doesn't happen like that.
yeah.
Yeah, I think that dinner was 5 hours long, wasn't it, or something.
Yeah, we were there for a really long time. Well, I think you're right. I think it was like 5. I got there
Yeah.
around like 7, and
Yeah, we were there till almost midnight, or a little before midnight. Actually,
'Cause
after midnight.
Yeah, because I remember the PSV Man United Champions League match started after we got done with our appetizer, and it
Yeah.
finished before we got to our main course. The whole
Yeah.
match was over.
Seriously?
yeah, because you had to hear Stefan talking about Eindhoven for the rest of the time.
Yeah, that's okay. I don't mind. We
So-
did,
Dinner was good. It was actually
Dinner was
probably the best meal we
great.
had.
oh, that food was amazing. Yeah, definitely was amazing.
Fantastic. It was worth. It was too long, but I don't want to complain about it because that place was awesome. The food was great. I'm not going to say a bad thing about it.
See, I
Yeah.
loved it. Even the length of it, I thought it was freaking awesome. Go eat, go
was
take
good.
a cigar. Go back eat, go back get a cigar. And in between, drink some wine. Go back have a cigar. Come back and eat, have some more wine. Go have a cigar.
Then go to the
mean,
bar, and then go to the
perfect.
bar.
Yeah, that was perfect.
Yeah,
Don't
we
get
did
run
start
over
out at the
outside.
bar downstairs. I forgot about that. There was a
yeah,
whole
that's right.
whole like appetizer
snack
thing
bar.
downstairs.
Yeah, the little mussels.
Oh, that's right.
Little
Well-
aperitif.
So we ate, and then this is the most embarrassing part of the story for myself, is that I went to bed, and I am not a nice man when I'm tired. And when I
You
fall
could have
asleep,
just stopped with "I'm not a nice man."
no, it's true. I'm a complete jerk. Hewitt saw whenever, kicking it, Intertabac,
Dude's
like
got
kicking these
issues.
Frenchies, kicking
Dude's got
Frenchies out of the way, man. It was bad news bears. But so basically, I was getting ready to talk to my wife, forgot to set my alarm, and next thing I woke up to was, and it was Seth saying, "Hey, motherfucker, it's 9:15. We're supposed to be out the door at 9. You made us late." So I made us late, and I apologize to everyone, including Royal Agio, the Winterman's family, and everyone. And let me just say, the amount of shit that I took from Charlie Minato the rest of the trip was just unbelievable for being late. But the part Seth doesn't know is that Charlie was late the day we went to Intertabac, and then I gave him a massive amount of shit too, but that doesn't really matter. But Charlie can't take it either. He can't take it like stride like I can. But anyways, the next day after I got plenty of sleep and we were all drunk and had a long meal, I went to the Agio factory, which was the whole reason we were there. So, Seth, what was kind of when we pulled up to the Agio factory? What were you expecting?
What was I expecting, or what?
Yeah,
was I?
Yeah, just tell me your thoughts about the Agio factory.
I mean, it's one of those things I obviously did not expect it to be like Drew Estate or anything down in Nicaragua or Honduras and everything. So, but it's like, I didn't expect. I mean, it's in an industrial park. I mean, it really is. I mean, it's this industrial park. Then you come to this modern building, which I was kind of like, okay, I can see that, but I was not expecting it to be as eco-friendly as it was. I mean, the grounds were beautiful. The building was well kept. I mean, it is Belgium, Netherlands, right close to Germany. So I kind of expect this cleanliness and orderliness, which they had. But it was. I mean, it was pretty damn impressive. It was clean.
They recycle all their rainwater.
Yeah.
So they said.
Stuff like that is how they retain or maintain their royal warranty. That's why they can be called Royal Agio. So doing things like that.
The predicate royalty, yeah.
And that's the crazy thing, and I'm going to let someone else explain it, but like when I thought Royal Agio, I thought that was just like the title, right? But if you've heard, there's Royal Dutch Shell, Royal Agio, there's actually significance to the royal name, which, in my humble opinion, if I was Agio, I would really tout the shit out of, because it's actually something really, really cool that here in the States we're going to have no idea what it is. I mean, Hewitt, you want to break it down on what the royal certification or signification actually means?
Well, I was putting together, and I just posted it, all the tour videos. So I got one long tour video, and I saw something in it. I had to watch every minute of it several times to get it right. But in there, one of the guys on the trip made a comment that it's effectively a corporate knighthood, and it has to do with if you're a responsible and upstanding and such amount company that's been in existence for a certain amount of time, and I don't.
100 years.
Yeah.
They said 100. I don't know if it's a full 100 or if it's shorter than that. Because aren't there some airlines, and are they 100 years old? I don't know. Anyway, but yeah, like 100 years or something like that, and good, responsible, and contributing, and upstanding, and all that sort of thing, and that you applied for it, and if they decide that they like you, then they give it to you, and they got it before everybody took such a harsh turn towards tobacco, so they got kind of grandfathered in, I guess, at this point. But
yeah, I've actually been to.
They had it the whole time.
I've actually been to the website. The Netherlands have an actual website dedicated to the predicate.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and they talk about. I mean, you basically have to submit all your financials. They're looking at everything. And then there's the other stuff involved in it as well. So it's just, as Brian said, it's basically you're a damn good company. That's good for the country too.
The royal family vouches for you is effectively what they're saying, and I presumably they can pull that back if you start misbehaving. So
these people got money and they're Dutch and they're good Dutch, so we're gonna give them royalty.
Yeah.
It was interesting, and they changed their logo once they. I mean, apparently this is a big deal. So they changed their logo. Their logo now has a crown on it to signify, the royal. It's just very interesting. It's very, very interesting.
They take it very seriously. Yeah, we don't have the whole royal family thing, so we don't really get or grasp most of that sort of thing. So.
But yeah, I mean, what did they say? How many companies had it, Seth? Like 100?
150, I think. I think only 150.
That's freaking wicked. That's crazy. So, you know, I think the part for the factory tour that stood out the most for me, you know, going into it, you know, it kind of was the first kind of our kind of first stop, you know, was the, well, other than breakfast, because I hadn't had breakfast yet because I had overslept like a jerkwad. But other than that, I think the most interesting part for me that kind of took me back is that when you think, you know, machine-made cigars, you think short filler cigars, you know, I think a lot of people in the States have the idea that this is just like, you know, something I roll my pot up in, right? Like, I use the wrapper, I roll up a blunt. Like, this is like stuff off the floor. This is like trash. And when we walked in kind of the first station, I kind of realized pretty quickly that it's not. Because, I mean, and I know Brian's got a ton of videos, and I know I'm going to post a ton of videos here starting probably tomorrow. But when you look, I thought, oh, there's no way there's going to be any blending that goes into this. They're just going to throw tobacco in. But actually, believe it or not, it's like very scientific on how it works. So like when you're blending a cigar, like a handmade cigar, you're putting a leaf of this, a leaf of this. The exact same thing is happening when you're making a machine-made cigar. The difference is instead of using a leaf here, half a leaf here, a leaf here, you're doing one bale, two bales of this, three bales of this. So a lot of the blending still is happening. And the level of kind of, I wouldn't say quality control, but the level of scientific, like almost accuracy, right? I mean, with handmade cigars, I mean, you're going to get ones that are going to burn wonky. You're going to get ones that are underfilled. You're going to get ones that are all messed up. I mean, it doesn't really happen because it's all controlled. And that was the part that kind of like blew me away. It kind of turned my perception on kind of machine-made cigars, that there's a lot that goes into it more than just picking up stuff off the floor and throwing it in a cigar.
Or maybe they just didn't show us that part of it.
They have that behind the big curtain. And the other thing that was crazy was the lack of people. You walk into like Drew Estate, and there's literally people for days. There's people having babies in the back corner to like start rolling cigars. It's crazy. There's so many people. Like, it's unbelievable. You can't even walk
people
down
making babies in the back corner.
No, seriously,
too.
They are. They are.
Exactly.
Like, they're everywhere. But in this fact, how many people did you see? Like 5?
That's what Cuba's all about, man. I think there's 8 or 9 that I saw all together.
Yeah, in the machine room, which they have this massive machine, which we had, like, Brian, so we got the video up on Stugger Review now where we got the video of the whole machine. And it's one big, giant, continuous machine that does, you know, the blending, the grinding of the tobacco, and everything you could think of for the cigar. It does everything. And it's probably the size of, like, 4 Walmarts. I mean, it's a huge area. And I counted 6 people in that entire room.
Yeah.
They were just moving bales of tobacco because they had these big, large boxes that had the filler in it. And it was probably the size of like an engine crate box. I mean, it was pretty big boxes, all plastic, and they just stacked them up along a wall, probably 7 or 8 high, and it was just a whole wall of that. And that was basically that's what they were doing. One guy was loading them in the machine, and these guys were pulling them out of the machine. That was it. I mean, it was amazing. It was so efficient. It was crazy. Yeah. But they were ISO 9001 or 9003 certified. I can't remember which one it was. I know they were ISO 9000 certified, but I can't remember which one it was. But which, you know, in engineering, that's a huge deal.
That's kind of a big deal.
Yeah.
I mean, the room where they stored like the colognes, I mean, it was basically as big as DE2.
Yeah.
I mean, it was massive.
They didn't have as much. They probably didn't have as much. Well, maybe they did have as much tobacco. You just didn't see it as much. But they didn't have as huge a variety. But it was just they're pulling bales out. I mean, they're pulling out Matafina and Sumatra and
they had a lot of Cuban tobacco.
They had Cuban tobacco, which they put in their little their petite cigarillos.
They had Spanish tobacco too, which I thought was unique. You don't see that much.
Yeah, I mean, it's
Spanish Havana or something. No, what was it?
Spanish Havana.
Was it Spanish Havana?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was pretty amazing. I mean, the little cigars, like you said, there was over here in America, they considered trash cigar because the stuff you would go buy, you know, when you're too drunk at a gas station, you want to smoke something or you want to fill it full of marijuana. But like as Seth
Smoking
knows,
blunts.
it's like in Cuba, they have a lot of machine maids,
Mhm.
and they're good quality. I mean, if you want a quick little smoke, they're great. They're fine. I mean, they're not the greatest thing in the world, but they're really good.
Yeah,
So
What were
it's
those
when
little What were those
yeah,
little cohibas that we were burning that we picked up? Those were
Dude,
fantastic.
Cristos.
little, yeah, the Cohiba's got these little puritos, and so does Monte Cristo, which
Burritos.
are
yeah.
fantastic. I mean, it's scrap Cohiba tobacco, scrap Monte Cristo tobacco.
But
Yeah.
it's really good.
Yeah,
Exactly.
They're
So that's
really
kind of what
good.
I was kind of expecting when we went over there was that kind of quality of a cigar, you know. And most of what we smoke, a matter of fact, I mean, when they put out Cigar for the Smoke at the factory, because at the factory after we did the tour, we had a pairing session with a bunch of different beers and like scotches, whiskeys, and a cognac or two was there, and we could pick anything we wanted from there. And the Balmoral cigar, the XO, the Anejo XO, and all that. Those are all our premium cigars. How we turn premium cigars. Long filler, handmade, all that, and they're really good cigars. But I noticed a lot of us actually were grabbing those little short
You've
filler
caught.
Balmorals.
Oh yeah,
I still have
those
2 packs of those actually.
those are
They
great.
were really good. They were really good.
Those are really good sticks.
And if you wanted a quick, like 30-minute smoke, man, they were perfect.
Were we supposed to be pairing? Because I was just trying to drink all the Westy 12 I could get in my belly.
So you were just acting normal, basically.
You're just being your normal self.
Yeah.
I was with Brian. It was like, let's just take advantage of the situation. But it was
Oh my God,
interesting.
that spread of booze was fantastic. We didn't deserve it. It was too good for us.
I mean, but it was interesting to smoke a lot of stuff, and it's just like even the Dehoof cart, which is it's not even available in the States. It's just kind of like a big Euro brand, which I think Brian, you smoked it too, which had like that really low priming Sumatra wrapper.
Which one was that?
Dehoof cart, the one with the wagon.
Yeah, that was the first one we
yeah.
smoked.
Yeah.
It was pretty decent. I mean, it was really, really, really mild. Might be the most mild thing I've ever smoked.
Yeah, it's very. It was interesting because I've kind of seen in it. It's just there's a difference between what the rest of the world smokes and what America smokes, and what Europe classifies as like machine short filler. Is they classify it as a cigar. It's America's butchered it in the sense of you have all those and the flavored stuff, and I think part of that comes from the manufacturers and these short filler cigars are crap.
Well, I can tell you that I've since tried a gas station cigar, a short filler, and it was awful. It was terrible. It was terrible.
I mean, there's definitely a difference.
Don't do that to
There's
yourself.
definitely a difference between their machine made and what it is.
Yes. I love those Panthers. I always have. I still do. I used to smoke the hell out of them. Many years ago when I was really into short cigars, and I love those.
I
I
didn't
love
even
the
try them
tins.
while
I
I was
love the
there.
smokes. Just fantastic.
Yeah, that was my one. I didn't get to try one of those while I was there.
I didn't
the
really smoke
Panthers?
any either.
Which one?
The Panther.
I think I did. I think. Is that the one that's like in the yellow box? The
They
red
have various
box?
colored tins. They got like
Okay.
a red tin and a blue tin. They got mignon and regular, and they've got coffee
Then
versions of it. They've got like half a dozen different versions. They're readily available in the U.S. That's why I didn't smoke any. I'm like, I'm going to smoke stuff that's harder for me to find in the U.S. So.
You know what I thought was really interesting, and I don't know this, I don't smoke a lot of Cubans, but you always hear a lot of people, and this is one rumor that got dispelled for me, is that, a lot of people talk about, oh, I freeze my Cubans, I put them in the fridge overnight, blah, 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 blah. And when we walked in, first of all, I just want to tell everyone how much of a grizzly bear hard ass I am. I had shorts on, and I walked into this sub-20-degree freezer, and it felt like, I was on a beach in Mexico. It felt wonderful. Because Austin's so freaking hot. But, I mean, it literally moisture was coming out of the air. It was so fucking cold. But, anyways, so we asked Boris, we're like, man, it's freaking cold in here. Like, what's the deal? And he's like, yeah, we freeze everything, just as a precaution. And we're like, well, why -20? He's like, well, that's the actual temperature you have to get to actually freeze beetles. And we're like, what?
To actually kill them.
To actually kill them.
Yeah.
And so let me just say, for everyone that's putting their Cubans in their freezer overnight, like at maybe 25 degrees, no dice.
Yeah, please stop. It just hurts your cigar. Don't do it, please. For the love of freaking God, stop doing that shit.
Just if you maintain.
It's not even just Cubans either. I mean, it's Nicaragua too. It's just.
Oh yeah.
I mean, they're putting tobacco from everywhere in there. I mean,
that's true.
It's everywhere. But yeah, a lot of people do it with Cubans because they think Cuba's the one with the problem. But
just maintain the temperature. All you got to do is keep the temperature down. If you let it get 75 or above, they're going to start hatching and crawling around and chewing on stuff. If you don't, you're not going to have a problem. It's as simple as that. Just maintain your temperature. Don't freeze them. That's silly.
You know what's funny is that, not to get on a thing here, but you said 75. I mean, in my house, during the summers, it'll run anywhere between, depending on how cheap I'm wanting to be, 74 and say 77. Now the AC is constantly running because it's in Texas and it's hot as shit here. But I've never had a problem, knock on wood, with anything, even that. My key is just the humidity. I just keep the humidity fairly low in my humidor. Most people keep it 70-ish. Mine runs more like 65.
Yeah, mine does too. But I live in a really humid area, so when I basically come to my man cave to smoke like I am now, the humidity is going to spike. So I know my cigar is going to absorb some percentage of humidity. So if I leave it low, like 65, 64%, when I get outside, it'll be around 68, 69, which is where I want it to be in the first place. So I try to keep it low myself.
I keep mine like everything around 65, and the funny thing is, like when I'll send it with like a Boveda pack, and people will be like, "Why do you keep the humidity so low?" I get people bitching at me for it, which is funny.
I prefer it that way, but I got tired of fighting with integrating stuff I buy in the stores around here that are always around 70 or 72. I just gave up on it, so I usually keep stuff around 70. But everything draws and smokes better around 68, in my experience, or even 65.
Yeah.
Lot fewer plug and draw problems. So, but that's what's 70 is what's on the shelves out there. So I just, for the most part, I stick to about that.
So yeah,
go ahead, Tim.
One more, just to get off of it, because I'm still thinking about it. Those short filler Balmorals, 3 years, Ben, you're absolutely correct. Those things were great. Both sizes.
Yeah. If they were available here, I would definitely buy them.
I smoked one earlier while I was editing the video I just posted. It was nice. It was enjoyable. If you smoke it, I found that I liked it more doing that because I was kind of leisurely smoking it than when I've kind of hammered through it when I'm in a hurry. Which I think is a mistake with those small things because they just get hot and they don't taste as good. It was pretty nice.
The only drawback is just the little bitty pieces of tobacco that get on your lip and your mouth, which it's not bad. It's just a little bit, and it happens every now and then. But that's more prevalent in a short filter cigar, obviously. But it wasn't bad. But that was the only thing that was a little annoying about it. But
those are made in the DR, though, right?
No, those weren't. Those are made there.
Those aren't.
Well, no, they're made. The binder. The filler and the binder are there, but I thought they then shipped them to actually have the wrapper put on in the DR.
I thought they put the wrapper on.
I thought it was the other way around. They shipped it. No, the wrapper came from Sri Lanka.
Right, on the bobbins thing.
Right, and then they shipped that to the factory, and then they put it all together at the factory in Westerland.
Maybe they did that.
Maybe.
We'll email Stefan or Marcel.
Well, they have different procedures with different smokes, is what I've noticed, and I think there is one that they do something like that where it goes the other direction or something like that, or the wrapper's applied in Dominican. I think.
Well, the Balmorals are all made in. I don't know, but I don't think the short ones, the short filler are. They're made in Westerland. The long filler are made in their factory in the Dominican Republic.
Yeah, and they either stay in, because I asked, I said, because they said they ship everything. Everything goes. It doesn't go to Westerlo. It goes to their Eindhoven headquarters where they do all the packaging and so forth. Because everything goes there before it gets shipped. So I asked them. I said, do you ship it back to Eindhoven before shipping cigars to the States? They said no. All United States allocation long fillers stay in the DR and they get distributed Obviously, with
makes
Drew
sense.
State, they probably hook up with Drew State. That's how
Well, yeah, but I'm sure it's also
the
a lot
Panthers and all that stuff.
too.
Oh yeah, but the Panthers, all of them go from Netherlands all the way probably to Miami.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, I think it was interesting actually getting to smoke. I mean, I definitely agree with Brian that, if you smoke kind of a short filler cigar, you've really got to smoke it very, very slow because it'll get hot on you really quick. And it was just, impressive. And I think just the factory itself was very impressive, and being kind of a nerdy mind, seeing how they've done it, and how mechanized it is and how automated. And dude, I'm telling you, when they watch these cigars, like actually put them on the machine, and it was cool. The wrappers were on what they call bobbins, so think of it like a pre-cut wrapper kind of in this machine, and it was like, I mean, I'm not even going fast enough. Like, I mean, you couldn't even see it.
It's impressive.
How quickly it was going.
The whole time I was there, I was hearing that what was it, a Bugs Bunny cartoon where all of you see the machinery, like the retro machinery with the song, and everything's like dooch dooch dooch, all that stuff. That was going in my head. That there's a tune that goes along with it, but it's like an old Bugs Bunny cartoon. All that mechanization, it's like something about it was kind of retro cool,
Well, the cool thing was, dude, they actually, all those machines that they used were invented by them.
Yeah.
And it was made by a company in Italy to their specs, and then they buy them, they bring in their own machine, and they also sell them to other companies. But they invented all those machines that they use.
Including the photographic one? There was the photographic flaw detection one. Was that theirs too?
I think they actually buy that technology.
Yeah.
They buy that technology, I'm pretty sure, from my wife's company.
Because I've heard of that. I knew a guy that worked in that kind of thing, that did the high-speed photographic analysis of things looking for flaws, and I was like, that's pretty cool. They're using it for tobacco.
Cool.
Yeah, Boris's brother was the one who's in charge of that. I mean, he's in charge of all that. Yeah, Boris basically takes the tobacco and the glamour, and the other brother's doing all, like, behind-the-scenes, making everything run smoothly.
Yeah, all the engineering parts.
Yeah.
Yeah, what's cool is they invented the 3D metal printing machine for metal. That was pretty cool. Yeah.
Which is awesome. And another crazy thing is you take someone, I don't know, rolling cigars. Yeah, the first cigars they're going to roll suck. But after a month or two, it takes, they get the hang of it after a couple months, machine made. They said that it takes almost 6 months to calibrate the machines properly. So, to actually, which is freaking nuts.
They got to get it perfect, but they're always running diagnostic tests. I mean, the machines were running, because I asked Stefan. I said, why is the machine running? You're not even doing anything. He says they're just making sure everything's working properly and maintaining it.
Yep.
When you're dealing with thousands of cigars, an hour or whatever, high speed, you have to be very precise. The range of error that's allowed to keep going and not screw things up is pretty small, so I can completely understand the kind of the intensity with which they evaluate everything and tune everything. It makes sense. It's definitely not a it's definitely not a thing that they just kind of throw out and say, yeah, it's machine made, whatever. No, it's very close attention to detail.
It's true. It's very true.
I was completely impressed and awed. I mean, it's one of those. It's beautiful watching a handmade cigar made. It's wonderful. But seeing that machinery was just, I was speechless.
The packaging and rolling machines were hypnotic.
Cool.
I could just sit there and watch those for like an hour.
Yeah, I mean, it was awesome. I mean, as an engineer, I was kind of intrigued by how the machinery was functioning and, all the processes and all that. And it was just amazing how efficient everything was. Everything was so precise, so efficient. It was amazing. It was really cool.
I would agree. So, any final thoughts on the Agio part of the trip?
Just that it was eye-opening about the short filler. I mean, like I said, the set that I was smoking, a lot of the short fillers are machine mades from Cuba, and they're good. They're real good. But still, being Americans, you still have that, negative thought about machine mades. But I mean, going over there and you're smoking them, you're sampling them firsthand. They're quality cigars. But I mean, that's kind of the European way. they can't. For instance, while we were doing that pairing, it was hot as hell in there to be. So I went outside to the back patio area,
beautiful.
which connected to their cafeteria part. And while I was out there, just having a cigar, just trying to cool off a little bit, that some of the people came out, the employees, and sat out and eat their lunch or whatever. And we were talking about the cigars and how, like in Europe, they like a lot of the small cigars, and mainly it's because they don't have a lot of time to smoke. There's very, very few places they could smoke that's not been outlawed or banned or whatever. And they were asking me about, do we smoke a lot of machine-made small cigars in America? I said, well, no, not really. Most of the people, when we smoke cigars, we like the larger, long filler, handmade stuff. They're like, oh, really? I'm like, yeah. Well, the reason they were, kind of curious about it is because, like I said, in Europe, they can't smoke in a lot of places. They were baffled. They were surprised when I told them, oh, yeah. It's kind of most places there's smoking bans, but a lot of places it's up to the business owner. If I want to go into a restaurant and they have smoking, I can light up a cigar there. They're like, really? Like, they were totally surprised. Like, you could do that in America? I would say, yeah. We have our most, a lot of the cigar shops are full lounges. You can smoke there, or, you can go out to a back deck and smoke, or there's a lot of places you can smoke. So, we have a lot of time that we can enjoy, a nice cigar. And it was just kind of baffling, like, oh, wow, that's pretty cool that you could actually do that over there in America. So it's kind of one of those things where, we kind of take some of our freedoms for granted, like that. But that was kind of eye-opening, kind of a little social interaction there.
I'm going to put this out there. If Agio wants to win over the American market, they just need to make a machine-made 6x60. Do it, Agio. I'm calling it.
No.
We'll smoke it.
No,
this is true.
They'll do it. I'm just saying, for them to take on this market, they should do it. It makes sense.
No more 6x60s. No more 6x60s.
Yeah, Ben's a hater. Just do it. Do it.
Can you imagine watching a machine make a 6x60?
That'd be awesome.
It'd be actually really sweet, actually.
There'd have to be tobacco just flying everywhere, though. I mean, it's just
fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, it's just.
They should. I would like them to make a display machine that involves fountains of tobacco. Like it's wildly inefficient, but like there's guns that fire like shotgun blasts of tobacco at a wall, and then it gets rolled up, and then fountains of tobacco flying around. That'd be fantastic. They could show up for the tour and then never turn it on again.
Never turn it on ever again. Exactly.
In a couple years, like air guns shooting little tobacco clusters at us, we're gonna get bombarded with short-lived.
Basically like a T-shirt gun that they have at like sporting events full of tobacco.
Exactly, just little tobacco. They're going to shoot Sumatra at us. I mean, it's cigars. Not necessarily on the American market, but definitely a lot of Royal Agio's products.
Maybe I should take that back. They should do a 6x60, but they should also do a short filler Lancero to keep Ben happy.
Dude, a Corona or Lancero?
Or Corona, but I mean they've already done stuff like Coronas-ish. Yeah. But a Lancero.
And I'm already happy then. I'm good.
You basically smoked them.
Yeah, they were awesome. I like them. Maybe a Lonsdale. Lonsdale would be pretty good.
Ooh, that'd be a good one.
I asked Boris. He said he can make any size. He's like down from kind of a cigarillo size up to he's like a Toro, Robusto. He goes, it's just a matter of actually figuring the machines.
I mean, he basically said that they could make, because when we were talking to him, Logan, they said that they could make the Papas Fritas perfectly.
Yep.
That would be awesome.
Interesting.
I know. Very interesting.
I wonder how cheaper they would be if they did it.
I asked a very reliable source, and one that I trust, because I had to ask him. Huh? Well, no, it was not Seth.
Oh, okay.
It was not Seth.
It's not very reliable, I was just going to say.
No. I actually asked the question, even before we left Belgium, and they're like, if you keep everything the same, meaning you don't change the tobacco, all the quality remains the same, but you make it, he goes, there's not much of a difference. He goes, there might be like maybe 20 or 30 cents. He goes, but the difference is, he goes, the difference is that you can't, well, I mean, it is a difference. I mean, yeah, I mean, maybe $1 difference. He goes, so it's not, you would think it might be like a third of the cost. He goes, it's not. Like, there is a difference. But he goes, the thing is that instead of having to have 100 people roll cigars, he goes, you can put out 10 times that you can with your current rollers in a tenth of the time. So he's like, you can just pump those babies out. He goes, you don't need 6 months to roll for the IPCPR trade show. He goes, you need like a day and a half. And he goes, you're good.
So you're basically, what do they come in, tens of 4?
Well, I think they've actually changed their packaging.
Paper
I think they actually
packets
come in
of 4.
paper packets, and they're in a 50-count box now.
Paper packs of 4, so you're looking at a pack of 4, which is now $1 cheaper, which, let's face it, a lot of people are going to be a fan of it. And if they're more readily available, because now you don't have to worry about, man, we can pop these babies out, not a problem.
I mean, I would have to think that
there's greater profit in it. There has to be.
I mean, I got to think there is greater profit, but I also think there's probably a greater headache because now you're exporting tobacco out of multiple countries, importing it, and then you're exporting it back out. I got to think the taxes would just be absurd.
They're already buying.
They're doing that now.
They're already buying the tobacco now. All they have to do is get them in touch with the providers, the growers. They ship it up there. Now they all have to do is program the machines.
But they're not buying Connecticut broadleaf. They're not buying.
They're not, but it doesn't mean that. Yeah, but they can still buy it. They can still get it shipped over there.
Right. I mean, understood. I'm just saying they're not getting that tobacco. It would be tough. If you're taking a Papas Fritas out of Drew Estate directly to the U.S., and then now you have to take that same tobacco and then import it to Belgium, and then you have to export it back to the U.S.
Here's the other thing about it, though. Here's the other thing about this, though. Now, let's say you're having Papas Fritas coming out of the Netherlands. You're still shipping them out of there, and they'll still go to Miami distribution, which, you know what, the cost, you know, maybe it won't change, maybe it will change. But now you have Papas Fritas readily available in Europe, and that is a size which is still approachable by the European market.
If you could churn them out fast enough, I think you could have your margins be lower. So if they were just trying to create the same amount, they would maybe 30 cents a cigar or whatever you said. But if they had the availability of tobacco and they were able to churn it out in volume, they could have a lot slimmer margins, and you could wind up with a much less expensive product. And it could go gangbusters, and it's the possibility of the European market taking hold of it. It could be a huge thing. I wouldn't be surprised if there were already discussions about that happening. I mean, or at least I'm sure it's at least been looked into. But who knows? Right. I mean, we're talking about.
Europe loves Budweisers, Levi's, and Marlboro. Might as well give them the fucking Papas Fritas.
Well, two things, and this kind of segues into another thing we talked about is we went to the Intertabac show, which was in, where was it? Westfalen, Holland?
Dortmund.
Yeah, Dortmund, Germany. And it's more or less the IPCPR of Europe / the world, right? But one thing I want to say, and we'll talk about this next, but I just want to make a point here, is that the thing that, you're talking about it going gangbusters in Europe, the thing I took away from that whole show is that it's hard to go gangbusters in Europe. Because it's not like the U.S. where you import a Papas Fritas into Miami, you can sell it any state, it's not really that difficult. Yeah, there might be taxes higher in another state. But over there, it's like you can't just, okay, I'm going to import my cigars into Belgium, and then I'm going to sell to every country. You don't sell directly to retail shops there. Like Drew Estate doesn't sell directly to a retail shop in Germany or the Netherlands or Italy. You have to actually have
distributors.
And
they handle that.
A cluster.
Yeah.
And that's the thing I took away is that I don't think people understand how good we have it with cigars here and how easy it is and how less regulated it is. And it's crazy to think that how much extra steps you have to go through and how much more expensive stuff is over there. That was like the eye-opening part for me.
Yeah, it was definitely weird how they, kind of like the way IPCPR is here, you have the retailers will come in and they'll talk to the manufacturers. Well, at Intertabac, they don't do that. They can't. So you have the distributors, the middleman comes in, and they don't even really buy nothing at the show. They just kind of go and they see what's out. They don't do any ordering and stuff. It's kind of weird. but the distributors get all that, and then they decide whether or not they want to bring it in or not or whatever, and then they sell it to the shops. It's kind
I
of
think the
weird.
retailers do show up for one of the days, like the last
Germany,
day,
Yeah, the very last day. Yeah,
The German, yeah.
which is
they
weird because
don't.
I guess
They don't buy. They don't buy anything.
yeah, I guess they know what day to show up because we were told when we were there this is the distributor day and that's going to be the retailer day, and I'm like, is that maybe they enforce that in some way? Because we were there with exhibitor, we didn't have to worry about it, but we thought it was interesting to have it split up like that. But I guess if you've got different levels like that, you have to deal with the people who actually make the purchases and then the end consumer. I guess it makes sense. I thought it was interesting how I didn't go around looking for samples or anything, but I got almost none. I mean, there were
Oh,
didn't
nothing.
see much, but then in the Drew Estate booth, people were just walking up and grabbing product right off the shelf. I'm like,
Dude, it was
not
wicked.
CPR, that stuff's glued down. You can't take that stuff. So I thought that was really different. Everything was odd. It was like Bizarro World IPCPR.
And there was like 5 halls, or no, actually 8 halls, and it was like being like Minotaur's labyrinth. Like you could not navigate yourself around anywhere. Like Pete John's like, oh, I'm in hall 4. We're like, okay, how long did it take us to find Pete's booth?
Forever.
A day.
Like an hour? Like it took
Yeah.
forever. And they've got things segmented up into like, I think they tried, where you have like the cigar hall, then you have like the hookah hall, then you have like the e-cigarette hall, then you have the pipe hall. But then there was really no form or function to it because, Pete was like in the middle of like 17 hookah booths. So, and you'd walk in and it'd be like, okay, we're in the wrong booth right, or we're in the wrong hall right now.
Yeah, what was the other thing that was kind of interesting was how the booths, like, of the known people that we know, like Padron, my father, Drew Estate, CLE, Oliva, all those, and Davidoff. Davidoff was still pretty big, and so was Oliva. Most of the booths were probably at least half the size of what they are IPCPR.
Oh, at least.
And when you go to those booths IPCPR, you almost can't even get in there because there's so many people in there. But with this one, especially when you have like Jonathan in a booth and Pete Johnson in the booth, and like Christian Arroyo, they have, they got their fans or whatever, so they're constantly being hounded for, pictures or, want to talk to them or whatever. At Intertabac, though, I mean, hell, we were sat there and, paired cigars and were drinking with Pete Johnson for what, 4 hours?
Uninterrupted.
Uninterrupted, Except for
Pepin
the one
looked
guy that
lonely.
came in looking for one of the Padrones.
Pepin looked lonely. He was just kind of chilling. He was kind of
Yeah.
nobody's coming up to him, and
He didn't have
It's true.
he didn't have all his people to be godfather to.
exactly.
It's true. I mean, it was a very strange world. Like, the other thing is there are so many companies that I've never even heard of.
Right.
I mean, like Cortez cigars and all these that you've
Jay
never
Cortez.
even heard of. Never heard of them.
They were right across the hall, or right across the little walkway from Drew Estate.
So
They
swanky.
had a massive booth. It was a really beautiful looking booth and everything.
They had a ceiling.
They
Yeah.
did. It was awesome.
And they were packed out pretty much all the time. They were serving beer. They were serving the French version, our little Stroopwafels, which we'll get to soon in a minute, talking about those.
Those things
And,
are good.
I mean, they were packed out, and they were really well known, but they only distribute cigars in Luxembourg, the Netherlands, Germany, and Belgium. I think that was the only places that they put their cigars out, except for a handful of them. It said one cigar I think is actually in the U.S. somewhere, but I don't even know what it is. I've never even heard of it.
I still feel a little bad that we didn't go over and talk to him more. We were going to go back, but we ran out of time.
Yeah, because the CEO of Jay Cortez, and I can't remember what his name is off the top of my head, but he's a really cool guy. He was actually talking to Brian and I about a campaign that he's running that's kind of like CRA is here, but on the European side. And basically, he's just trying to get that started because, especially in Germany, supposedly they're about to come down with some really heavy-handed anti-tobacco regulations, and it pretty much could kill them all off. But he's like got a Twitter or really not just Twitter, as a social media campaign, which hashtag Save Cigar, kind of like a little ground roots movement or something going about getting awareness for this legislation, because basically if anti-tobacco legislation comes down over there, nobody really knows about it. There's nobody there to speak up and say, hey, here, this is coming. Let's do something about it. There's nothing over there like that. So he's trying to start something like CRA over there for Europe, which I thought was a really awesome thing. Like Brian was saying, we wanted to go interview him about it, but we just ran out of time.
Yeah.
We just didn't have to get a chance to do it. It was actually 30 minutes we had one day, and he was at the booth. So
Yeah,
that would have been cool to talk about over there. But
yeah, I mean, everyone's cracking down. I mean, it's. I've heard Germany's cracking down on tobacco and so forth, and that's a big country for tobacco.
we did.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
it was cool. No, go ahead. Go ahead.
No, the other thing I thought was interesting is that everything related to hookah was like organic. Like every sign was like organic hemp hookah, organic hemp e-cigarette. Like everything was organic hemp. It was weird. It was just a strange place. It was like kind of like the Twilight Zone.
There was a lot of head shop stuff there for sure.
Yeah.
A lot
There's
of stuff
good
from the
pipes.
marijuana. But it was just cool. I mean, hey, and nothing wrong with that either. But I mean, there was a lot of stuff for that too. Like you go to some of the hookah booths or whatever, and they'd have a whole wall of stuff just for marijuana paraphernalia stuff, which is, I mean, it's everywhere over there anyway. But that was interesting to see because you knew we would never see something like that IPCPR, obviously.
Oh, God, no.
But yeah, the other thing I was going to say was how business-like it was. Like everything nothing was flashy. I mean, the most flashy thing there was probably two things. One booth had an actual three-piece classical music. No, maybe
I think
it was
a proper
quartet.
quartet. Actually,
It was a quartet.
there was a fourth person.
yes.
playing
Yeah.
classical music, and they were awesome. They were really good. But they also had one booth. Actually, had a little mini Oktoberfest
It's true.
at their booth.
Or was it Polish Fest?
Yeah, Polish
Well,
tobacco.
It was weird. It was a German company, but it was called something Polska. So it had something
No,
to
it's like,
well,
I think it was Polish tobacco or something like that.
Yeah.
well, back in the day, that was all together anyway, way
Yeah.
back in the day. So, I mean, that's kind of understandable.
The booth girls. Fuck
Oh
me
my
running.
God.
Fuck me
Wow.
running.
They were,
I've never seen so many hot women in my life.
yeah, and the thing
Sorry,
was, they weren't really, like, they kind of, IPCR, most of them, they dressed like strippers. Where over here, they were hot, but they were still classy. Like, they were
That's
all classy.
Some were a little trashy, but I kind of like that.
But you think about it.
I liked
Every
it.
one of them, there was four classy looking chicks, whatever you want to call them there. But they were still hot. They still wore, tight, mini skirt kind of with dresses or whatever. But it wasn't like it is at IPCPR where they're like
Yeah,
they
no-
just come off of Bourbon Street or something.
No giant stripper heels or anything like
No,
that.
God, no.
Tassels or whatever.
Did you guys see any Toscano cigars?
Their booth was massive.
Yeah,
Oh,
huge.
yeah.
No, I didn't
Have
see
you ever
them.
have you ever smoked those?
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
have.
they're great. I like the ones we had.
Really,
the ones-
really unique.
Very smoky.
smokes.
Very
it's-
smoky and peppery and
So the
almost
story,
pipe tobacco-y.
yeah, the story behind Toscano is because a lot of it's actual Cuban seed. Is that when they came back in the 1500s and the 1600s, they started growing that Cuban seed in Tuscany. So
Oh,
it's
really?
basically, yeah, it's Cuban seed grown in Italy. That's what it is, man. They grew.
That
Where
is-
did, I mean, I've been to Tuscany. Where do they grow tobacco in Tuscany?
Obviously, you've never been to Tuscany, man.
Actually,
I mean,
I've been
they-
all up in that motherfucker, and I didn't see no tobacco.
You got all up in
Well,
its
it's
business.
mostly
Yeah.
vineyards. I mean, it's mostly grapes, but I mean, they're still growing tobacco.
Olives and a lot of other stuff. I didn't see any tobacco, but
Well, it's like the CEO of Italia. That's got Italian
that's
tobacco.
true.
Yeah, it's got that.
That's true.
It's got some Italian tobacco in it.
Yeah, but you're right. The one Toscana that I had was actually Cigar Craig Vanderslice was actually gave you one of our trips we were on. I can't remember which one it was. And it was one of those long ones that had it was a dark one
Yeah.
that basically you cut it in half,
Yep.
which was cool. It had a little Italian flag wrapper on it or whatever.
Yeah, in the middle. Mhm.
Shit, I thought it was pretty damn good. And actually, Brian and I at IPCPR, Miami Cigar is actually the one distributing them in the United States, or they're about to. And
Oh,
there was
really?
a guy in there, yeah, and he gave us each one, which I still haven't smoked mine of. Now I remember that I got it somewhere.
I can't remember if I smoked that one or not. I had one that guy who owns the shop here. He used to smoke them all the time, and he gave me one. He happened to have it. And he says, "I love these," and I smoked it. And first one I had was great.
What that one reminds me of, and this goes back to our pipe thing, was like the old fire cured the Kentucky pipe tobacco. That one tastes like that, to me. That one did. That's all, but that's the only Toscano I've ever had was that one. I know they got like a ton more, but
yeah, they're interesting cigars. I've smoked a couple. It's they're fun, very different.
yeah, but Intertabac was definitely eye-opening. It was really cool. I was so glad they brought us over there.
Intertabac sack.
Intertabac sack. Coming in a video soon.
I wonder if that video's gone live yet.
He'll never post it.
He said he was going to.
We gotta tell the story because the story is amazing.
We shouldn't tell the story because that would spoil the video when it comes out.
No, we should just tease that it's out there and just know look for
coming soon.
Sack.
Intertabac
Message
sack.
Drew Estate on social media and say that you want to see Intertabac sack.
Yeah, hashtag Intertabac sack.
And it involves a trash bag. That's all I'm gonna say.
Cigar.
That I somehow had on me.
Yeah, I don't know. Why did you have a trash bag on
Why
you? Were you
did
gonna
I?
bury a body or something like that?
No. The reason I had a trash bag is when I was in Costa Rica back in, I don't know. I went in 2006, then I went back in 2008, and when I was there in 2006, like I was backpacking and we didn't wash clothes and it was just humid and hot and stanky, and basically my luggage was smelling up the joint. And I've never really been stopped at security, but I got stopped because it was such a rank thing. They thought, I guess, a dead body or some shit in my luggage because they stopped and the whole stink went across the terminal. So since then, I have always
Have
carried
considered
a trash
seeing
bag.
a doctor about that? Because that doesn't sound healthy.
Dude, if you're in Costa Rica during the summer, I don't care if you've got like the surgery that makes you not sweat and it kills all your sweat glands, you're gonna sweat. It's hot as fuck down there, and so I carry a trash
body
bag.
odor there,
But
man.
is it New Orleans hot?
It's New Orleans hot for sure.
That's pretty
It's New
intense.
Orleans hot,
Fuck,
but
why would I go from
it's pretty.
that?
Yeah, why would you
leave
leave the bayou just to go to Costa Rica just to have a?
Because you can see fucking monkeys flying over your head and shit. It's awesome.
I know a guy in New Orleans that could do that for you too.
Yeah.
Monkeys are
Well,
cool.
that's true. That is New Orleans.
I
You can get anything in New Orleans.
in New Orleans.
This is true. This is true. Well, anyway, so that's why I carry a trash bag to put my stinky clothes in, and that's why I had one.
Yeah, it was a great trip. I mean, all the beers that we had was real interesting, And like I brought back too the what was
The
it?
West-
West 12s.
Oh, by the way,
Westies.
I'm mailing your package, Ben, so you'll have another one.
Okay, awesome. I love packages. But they
He does love the package.
that was the. I remember we went to a beer store on the last day in Antwerp, and a lot of people like Hewitt.
Yeah.
Went a little bit crazy there and bought a bunch of beers and stuff. And
Did any of your stuff break you? I have to
Nope.
ask.
Nope.
Awesome.
I'm pretty good about that. I actually I had a bunch of Ziploc bags in one of my bags. I'd forgotten they were in there. Thank God that they were in there. So I was able to Ziploc each and every one of the bags, and I used clothing and whatever else to pad them up so they were sealed. And I had it to the point. And I actually stayed up the night before we left, and basically for a couple of hours just packing OCD. I had it so I could sit it upright and jiggle it, and I could hear the beer sloshing around, but there was no jingling of any bottle. So I'm like, I think we're good. I think we're good here.
You're good.
So,
yeah,
Now,
Brian's got a PhD
I would have
in
had-
drunk engineering.
if I were going to do it again, I think I might have brought a trash bag and actually lined the entire suitcase in a trash bag just to be on the safe side, because you can wash beer out of your clothes, but if your suitcase starts leaking, I think you're probably going to have to deal with something along the way, and you're probably going to wind up getting a lot of things thrown out. So, but
Yeah.
worked out pretty well. I was obsessive about it, but it worked, and the beer has been good so far.
What was your guys' experience like when you went into the LCDH? How does that different than going into a regular cigar shop in the States?
That was really cool.
It was really stupid.
It's full of Cubans.
It's a very different. It's a very different experience.
It's so upscale douchey.
It was no.
I mean, I can't describe it in a better way.
Such a hater.
You get some damn class and get to watch some Downton Abbey, you'll understand.
Why do you have to hate Franca like that, Logan?
I don't know what her damn name was, but
Franca.
listen. Okay,
the gypsy
Franca,
knows.
She was nice. I mean, she was a nice lady, but
Nice.
I have never been to a cigar store. Now, granted, I've been to, maybe not, LCDHs, but other Cuban stores, in other places around the world, and I've seen this, but it's so weird to me and foreign. Like, I hate service where it's like the humidor is like locked up. So she have these trays and she has these gloves on and
it was awesome.
She takes Ben in there and literally, first of all, Ben's in there for a fucking hour going through all this shit and we're all kind of waiting to buy stuff and look at stuff and whatever, and I just barge in with a tray and she's like, oh, I go, I got it, don't worry about it. And I'm just, as an American, just want to serve myself. That's like a buffet, man. Like, I don't want someone to do it.
To be fair, we all look like we had just washed ashore from a shipwreck. So
this is true.
This is true. It's been raining.
Yeah, it was raining and we got soaking wet because it was raining.
This
was
probably
in there.
She probably feared for her safety.
Oh yeah. And then so we walk in, and she's sitting behind the counter. She's like, "Oh, can I help you?" I'm like, "Yeah, I want to get some cigars." So we walk down these wooden stairs, like mahogany even. About 3 or 4 stairs or whatever. You go down this little area, and the humidor has this door in the front, and it comes out like a U, it's the humidor. And she has to buzz the door open to unlock it. You walk in. She puts on white cotton gloves like she's a curator at a museum. Gets a silver tray, felt-lined silver tray, brings it in, and it's like I had them all on a valet. It was so awesome. She would sit there, and I'd say, yeah, I would like that. I want one of those. I'll take 3 of those Trinidad Robusto teas, which I freaked out when I saw.
Oh, yeah.
Those were awesome cigars. And I got like one of every regional, one of every edition limitada was there. And I got some other ones that were just, good standbys were awesome, like the Party Guy 3D number 5, which are freaking fantastic. I gave one to Hewitt. He loved it. And the Robusto teas, which I haven't seen in forever, and I've been wanting to get some more for a long time. So I got a couple of those, and it was just amazing. She takes you back. While she's doing it, she has a hand scanner, and she's scanning the tag on every box that you pick something from. So as she goes back, she just puts it down, and she rings up each little cigar that you bought. It was kind of efficient, actually. But I mean, and also behind her was a bunch of rare rums and stuff. A lot of Cuban rums and other rums from other parts of the world that we can't get here. Like, there was one that Brian was trying to find all over Antwerp, and then we finally found it in the LCDH.
Legendario.
Yeah.
Yep, that's the thing I really, really wanted to find while I was over there. I'll go grab the bottles if you guys want to look at them.
You bought that? I didn't even know you bought that.
Oh, I did. Yep, and I shipped those.
Show the viewers what the label looks like.
All right, hang on a sec.
Yeah, but I thought that was pretty cool. I mean, that was the main thing I wanted to do.
Yeah, it's very. I mean, because I went in there and it's one of those things. It's just, especially with Rager production, I was just like, it's like, can I see the box code? And then she closed the box very carefully, and then show me the box code, and it's pretty.
It was so stupid.
I gotta get my battery charger. I'll be right back.
Everybody's leaving us. I don't know, man. I just felt really, it was too upclass for me. But I did buy, I don't know. Like, I did buy, 50, 60 euros worth of Cubans. And it was cool. I'm glad that I did. I'll probably never smoke them. Yeah, I don't really like Cubans, but I did it just to say that I did.
Well, that's probably half of what I smoke now. Maybe a little bit higher than that nowadays. There's the Legendarios right there.
Yep. And the one with the white label on it, I had that. A friend had a little bit left that he'd gotten somewhere along the way, and I'm like, this is the best rum I've ever had. So
what's the difference in the two that you bought?
Well, let's see. To begin with, about €2. Ron and Yeho, I think one is older than the other. I think the Añejo is aged longer.
Yeah, it is.
The Añejo is also 40% ABV, and the Legendario Elixir de Cuba is 34%. So that's. I don't know. I've never had the one with the black labels. Saw them both. I'm like, well, I know the one is really good. Well, screw it. I'm gonna
They're
get
both
both.
made. They're made in Spain, right?
Nah, I believe those are Cuba.
Oh,
Yes.
I thought they were Spanish.
Yeah, Agio and Cuba.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Sweet.
That's why we can't get them.
Well, save some for when I come to Atlanta.
No,
No
I don't know if I
drink
can
at all.
promise that.
Yeah, alcohol around you doesn't survive very long.
Yeah, it's quality stuff. The nice thing about it is nobody knows about it, and I think even if somebody had looked through it, they might not have realized it because everybody's what's the famous
Club.
Cuban rep? Havana Club. Everybody's looking for Havana Club.
It's okay. It's not great. I mean,
The stuff we had at Pete's booth was awesome. I've never had that before, but
that was Cuban rum too. I never.
that was
heard of
Havana
that
Club.
before.
That was some special blue label Havana
That
Club.
was
that I've
Havana
never
Club,
seen.
yeah, but it was some kind of rare edition.
Yeah.
I never heard of it before.
That was delicious.
That's
I'd have to ask
the
Charlie Bonato about that one because he's a big connoisseur of rum.
He's a big
probably
connoisseur of a lot of things.
That's true.
Some of those things rhyme with rum.
One of those rhyme with sleeping in, Charlie.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
There we go. Zing.
The zing. But no, it was good, and there was a lot. I mean, there was obviously us four on the trip, and there's a lot of other people, but it was a good time. You know, it was
it's a great group of guys.
it was a great trip.
Yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed it. Probably one of the best trips I've been on so far. I really enjoyed it. It was like I said, for the most part a pretty good group of people. It was what we were all with, and what was really cool was the last day in Antwerp, which Seth wasn't there for this part, but we walked to this.
I was
beer
with
bar.
Patrick in an airport, so
Yeah, you lose.
With drunken McDrugs,
Muling out ill-gotten bottles of Westy 12.
Yeah. What was that place called, Brian? Do you remember what that
I was
bar
like Patrick alive, man. Patrick.
Oh, the absinthe place.
No, not the app, though. I was going to get to that in a little bit.
Oh no, the
this was
pizza
the
joint.
beer place we went to right before we got on the bus to drive to Germany. It had the lambic trays and all that. Or
Oh,
whatever.
dude, it had the douchey lambic baskets. The
Hey, now,
hipsters.
come on.
Such
I
a-
want a lambic basket.
Johnny Brook got 2 to go.
whatever
bought one.
that beer was, that lambic was outstanding. But what is it called, like Der Zeppelin or something like that?
Dry Fontaine. Old
No,
Goose.
the place we went to.
It was.
Oh,
Zeppelin.
yeah. It started with an
Zeppelin.
apostrophe T.
Yeah, we checked
It was
it.
like
We
Zeppelin because
periscoped
they
there
dropped
twice.
bombs there or something.
Yeah,
Dresden? Dresden?
No, we weren't in Dresden. That place
No, I was
got
gonna say-
hot as hell.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I mean, you're talking about bombs. Dresden got blown the hell up.
Yeah, that was Churchill's retaliation for bombing London.
Well, it was Churchill's retaliation, but we fucking did it all for him. So
Well, we did a lot of things for a lot of them.
this is true.
How many towns that we had to stop to wait for Monty to roll in and say Monty took the town? Patton had to do that at least twice, I know. So
Yeah, we had to let
General Montgomery roll in. Anyway, no, enough with the history lesson. That was pretty cool.
I'm not old
though.
enough to get into vintage wars yet. I figure I got another 10 or 15 years before I hit that
The
point.
release.
You can
My
actually read
theory
the book
is
or something.
every guy of a certain age picks a war and gets just ridiculously geeky about it. My dad's got the Civil War. Other people have Revolutionary or World War I or World War II. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm a nerd. I'm a history nerd. I study them all. I love it all. But that lambic we had there was outstanding. I thought it was one of the best beers I've had there. But another cool place we went to, we just alluded to, was a absinthe bar that was in Germany. It was the first time we were actually in Germany. We were trying to find some place to go get something to eat, basically. And,
That was the idea.
That was the idea, but it ended up
and you were
turning
drinking
into a
some
beer
acid.
hunt. Yeah, it was a beer hunt that ended up at an acid bar, where they had some pretty good beers that we tried a bunch of different ones. We tried some kind of a beer for kids. I don't know, Brian. What was that again? I don't remember.
It was a Berliner Weiss. It was with the Woodruff syrup. They call it Waldmeister or Waldmeister. It's it's a low ABV, slightly sour wheat thing that they add syrup to, and I guess kids drink it, or I don't know, or did at one point before that became a bad thing, I guess. But
there's two versions, right? A red and
yeah,
a green.
there's the regular Berliner Weiss, and they actually have the syrups that they added, and one of them's that Woodruff syrup, which is some herb, and the other one I think was raspberries. So you could put it in there, so you get a little bit of the tart wheat beer, and then you get a little bit of the. You mix it right. It's nice. It's pleasant. It's very beer hipster over here, and over there it's kind of like, what? You're drinking children's beer. What
when
the
we
hell's
ordered
that?
they kind of like laughed when we ordered
Yeah.
that beer.
You
I had to do
gotta
it, though.
be kid friendly.
Exactly.
But
I am
then
so
we started
kid-friendly.
pounding the absinthe, so we kind of like, they were surprised that we actually drank so much absinthe. Because usually you drink one glass, maybe two. We all had like 4 or 5 apiece. It was crazy. And the best one we had was the one from Marilyn Manson.
Which is crazy.
Manson.
That was, to me, that one, it was kind of like right in the middle. Like it wasn't too licorishly flavored. It wasn't too high in alcohol. But it was kind of like right in the middle. And that was probably, to me, the best tasting one. But it was interesting.
Isn't Van Gogh's absinthe a big one, isn't it?
I think it's
I don't know.
popular. I think it sells well, but I don't think it's with the nerds. I don't think it's as popular as some other ones. I did a little. I got into it for like 30 seconds and bought a few bottles, and that's good. It's fun. You set
It's a
shit
lot
on
of work.
fire.
Yeah, it's a lot of work.
But you set stuff on fire, so that's fun.
Yeah. It's kind of like smoking pipes. It's a lot of work, but the payoff is pretty good.
Well, you don't have to keep setting it on fire every time you want to take a drink. That's the big difference. I mean, you can once the fire's done, you can just drink it.
Well, if you're ballsy, you can do it if you want to.
I mean, you could try.
Or somebody tried. I don't remember who it was, but I remember the waitress kind of freaked out at one point because the way they did the absinthe there, it's not the true traditional way. But basically, they brought us the absinthe in the absinthe glass, which basically looks like an old-timey milkshake glass, what it looks like. And you got an absinthe that's about probably a third of the way up with a sugar cube at the bottom. And you have a special spoon that's basically looks like a miniaturized, like a
butter knife. It's kind of like a butter knife with
but
holes
it's
in it.
kind of
butter knife.
wide with a triangle with it. It's got holes in it. And basically what it is you stir the sugar cube. But what you do is you pull the sugar cube out, sit on top of the knife on top of the drink. You light the sugar cube on fire until it goes out. And when it goes out, you dump it in the absinthe and stir it up. And then after that, if you want to, you could, which most people would do, is what you're supposed to do, is you pour water over the top of it probably about half and half, or maybe 2 to 1 or something like that. I mean, I usually do 2 to 1 because I don't like a lot of strong licorice flavor. The traditional way is you'd actually sit it next to this big water fountain that has a little spout on it, and you have little drops on the sugar cube. That's why it takes like 30 to 40 minutes to make a true absinthe drink. Is it drops on the top of the cube until it dissolves the entire cube of sugar into the absinthe. You're good to go. Well, I can't remember who it was, but somebody had their sugar cube was still on fire, and they were about to dump it in the absinthe. That would have been fucking disastrous. That waitress was just like, "Oh wait, no!" And it was like, "Oh, okay." You put it back. I was like, that might have been the coolest thing we've seen the entire trip if that would have happened. But still, it was pretty cool,
What was the food we were looking for in Germany that we never actually found? And never had schnitzel. We never found any schnitzel.
The one place that we went to go eat in Germany to try to find German food was actually an American restaurant in Germany.
There you go.
This is true.
So you've never had proper Wiener Schnitzel?
Nope.
Not in Germany.
Not in Germany.
Man.
No. It's funny because at the absinthe bar, we ordered a whole lot of like hors d'oeuvres. Like a bunch of fat Americans we do. We order like 6 or 7 appetizers for the table. And it stressed out the cook so much that he didn't want to serve us anymore.
He shut us down.
Yeah, he shut us down. He didn't want to actually, like we couldn't order any real food after that because apparently at that bar, you don't buy a lot of food. You basically get drunk, you eat the food to extend your drunk, basically.
Fill up the tummy.
We went there to eat and get drunk. So they were basically like, well, we're running out of food. You're eating all our food up.
We're
you only have one cook back there.
6 plates of fries.
Yeah.
They said they were out of food. They said, "Well, what do you have left?" I said, "Well, we have potatoes. Give us 7 plates of potatoes."
Yeah.
We could probably do 5. Okay, we'll take 5.
We'll take 5. Yeah. We shut the kitchen down.
Give me all of your bacon and eggs.
Yeah. Typical Americans.
So, well,
I think she liked us.
I think
She
she
thought we
did.
were hot.
She loves shades, bro. It's his
Oh,
girl.
I'm sure. Shades.
Shades, bro. Shades. But
Uh,
it was a good trip. We've been on here an hour and a half, typical shows. We went kind of way over. Let's just have final thoughts from everyone. Ben, what were your final thoughts on the trip?
It was definitely eye-opening experience. I mean, for one, I've never been to Europe, so it was kind of intriguing to see a totally different, different cultures they have over there. But just between, the kind of the understanding of how they see short filter cigars compared to how we see them, and also with Intertabac about how they run that trade show compared to IPCPR, and their thoughts on basically how the consumer interacts with the retailer interacts with the distributor interacts with the manufacturers was kind of intriguing. So it was all in all, it was a learning experience every day. It was really cool, really interesting. I was glad I went. I would definitely like to do that again for sure.
That's cool. Okay, Brian.
I enjoyed it. I would do it again just to go over there and hang out. Intertabac was massive and odd, and I don't know if I would do it again. I'm not sure. It's really good for Stogie Review what we can do there. But it was a good time. I was impressed with Agio's operation, both from their ability to produce a tremendous amount of cigars and just everything else they organized. It all came together extremely well. There were really no hiccups or anything. And if you want to check out the factory tour, I've got a video up on Stogie Review. Check that out. You'll get exactly what we got effectively. So.
Yep, exactly. So, I mean, I don't think I can say anything that's other been said. It was a really good trip. I mean, it definitely changed my thought on European kind of short fillers for sure, and it was just very interesting to see kind of the entire process. And then Intertabac was just strange on just a lot of different levels, but just strange. But with that, really appreciate you guys coming on, taking time out of your day to share thoughts. You guys where can Brian and Bullshark, where obviously Stogie Review, you guys,
Yes.
Everyone should know what Stogie Review is, but where can they find you guys? Tell them, everyone, just a quick shout out about what Stogie Review is in case they've been living under a rock for the last 8 years.
Cigar reviews, basically. We do cigar reviews. We don't do a lot of ratings. We just write it up, or we do a lot of video reviews, and that's kind of our thing. And then just a shit ton of interviews at trade shows when we, at least at IPCPR.
Got it. So StogieReview.com, if you didn't know. Maybe you've been living under a rock. So appreciate you guys coming on. Appreciate everyone checking it out. We'll be back, I believe, next week. Bull Shark and I will be back with Pipe Dummies on Tuesday, sharing our pairings on Wednesday, Cigar Chat on Thursday, the shows. And actually, Seth, when do you have the Cuban show? What embargo? Isn't it next week?
One embargo on Monday, 9:30.
Damn, we're going 4 nights a week now.
Yellow Snapper and I are doing we sent each other blind sticks. We have no idea what we're smoking.
I feel weird that I don't have a fish name.
We'll get one. Logan's fucking manatee. I mean, we didn't even give him a damn fish. And then
because I'm fat and slow and like to roll near the bottom of the ocean.
And then Thursday we have Boveda.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Boveda or Boveda or Boveda?
I have no idea what the hell it is. That's our.
That's the Boveda.
That's a Boveda.
That's the first question. How do you pronounce your name?
Pronounce your fucking name.
Right?
So that will be question 1. So appreciate you, everyone, checking it out. You can check us out at cigarfederation.com and all over the Instaweb, Cigar Federation on Twitter, YouTube, podcasts, freaking everywhere. Everyone, stay safe. Appreciate you tuning in, and we're out.